the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff, and on today's show, we have two main topics, one of them being Terry Rozier. The experiment must end. I don't even know if it's an experiment anymore, but he must stop getting playing time for the Miami Heat because he is detrimental to this team having success. Plus, on the second half of today's video, Dan Le Batard actually revealed what the Phoenix Suns wanted in a Kevin Durant trade when Pat Riley and the Suns front office discussed before the deadline. We'll get into all of that on today's show. But I did want to briefly mention the debuts of the three new Miami Heat players in that game last night against the Boston Celtics, because boy was it ugly. The Heat lost 103-85. The game was never close after the first 8 minutes where the Heat jumped out to an 11-point lead, but all of them really struggled with their shots, man. They could not hit a three. They couldn't get anything going offensively. You saw the potential positives of that first five defense, because the Heat did hold the Celtics to only 13 points in the first 8 minutes of the game, where Wiggins and Davion Mitchell both started, but the offense was truly abysmal. And I do want to say this. I'm not going to panic just yet when it comes to those three players making their debut. I can't imagine them shooting worse as a collective trio than what happened last night. I mean, they combined to shoot 5 of 25. I will be willing to guarantee that they will never combine for a worse shooting percentage in a game for the rest of the season than that one last night. And sure, maybe you can look at a larger, broader scale and say, yeah, the spacing and offense wasn't there when you have Mitchell, Wiggins, Bam, and Ware together. But also, without Tyler Herro playing last night, it's going to be difficult to have a really good scoring group because, we're going to be honest, Herro's almost the entire Heat offense, which is a pretty bad thing if you ask me. But I am not going to panic. I believe they will all bounce back and have better games from this point on. But let me know your thoughts before we get into Terry Rozier. Are you concerned after the first or the debut of these three players? Type Y if you are concerned. Type N if you are not. All right, let's talk about Terry Rozier now, because if there is one thing that the entire Miami Heat fan base can come together and collectively agree on, it's that the Terry Rozier experiment must end. He must stop playing for the Miami Heat. The Heat were not able to offload him before the NBA trade deadline, but he still should not play for this roster. And this is a truly unreal story to look at here. And when you talk about how the Heat started last night's game against the Boston Celtics, in the first 8 minutes, they held them to 13 points. They were winning 24-13. I was feeling good. I was feeling confident. They led 24-13 with 2:37 to go in the first quarter. Rozier checks in for Davion Mitchell, and then when Rozier checked out of the game, Mitchell back in with 6:41 in the second, so basically about 6-7 minutes of game action. Terry Rozier in that Heat lineup went down by 10. So you look at the numbers here, that is a 26-5 run in the 8 minutes that Terry Rozier played in the first half. A minus 21 in 8 minutes in a half of basketball. How is that possible? And sure, is Terry Rozier the only one to blame? No, Nikola Jovic missed a bunch of shots as well. But it's been the story all season for Terry Rozier. He has been a net negative on the floor for the Heat every single night. And sure, out of the 47 games he played, he isn't a negative the entire time. There are some games that he plays well, a la the game against the Philadelphia 76ers the night the Heat traded Jimmy Butler. But all season long, it's been a disaster. And when you made that trade last year to acquire Terry Rozier to replace Kyle Lowry, you expected to get someone that could play alongside Tyler Herro, start at the one, help facilitate, but also take some of the scoring kind of burden off of Jimmy at the time, Bam, and Tyler Herro. But Rozier, who got off to a rocky start last season, then played extremely good basketball for 20 games before getting that neck injury, has been absolutely abysmal this season, shooting terrible percentages from the field and not even giving Miami any playmaking either. It just has been a complete, utter disaster for Miami. And when you look at the advanced numbers as well, it just gets worse and worse. His offensive rating is atrocious. 108.0 is horrible. He's a net negative 5.0 rating and a true shooting percentage of 51.4%. The raw normal stats, back up the idea that he's been garbage, and the advanced numbers further that discussion. But if you just take the numbers aside and take it out of it, the eye test for Terry Rozier is somehow worse than the numbers. His IQ and shot selection is some of the worst that I have ever seen in the NBA. Not just for a Miami Heat basketball player, I'm talking in the league. There was a couple shots he took last night against the Celtics that were truly mind-boggling. One of them, he pump faked a three, did a good job of getting his defender to commit. He drove baseline and tried to elevate and finish over 7-2 Kristaps Porzingis. Why would you try to do that? Either kick it out, drop it off, or do a teardrop. But trying to finish over him, Terry, you're 6'2". What do you think is going to happen there? And then another one that comes to head. Driving in transition, once again trying to finish over the top of a Celtics defender that got back on the defensive side of the floor. And it's not like it was a guard. No, it was one of their big men, Al Horford. And it's just an easy contest and a miss from Terry. His shot selection is my biggest problem with Rozier because he can make some tough shots, but he takes horrible shots. Step back threes, sidestep threes when it's not necessary. The terrible selection inside the paint as well. His offensive IQ is as low as you could possibly imagine, and I can't believe that he is still getting minutes by Erik Spoelstra. And we're going to continue the conversation here in just a second, but make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we are 136 away from 19K. We picked up a ton of new subscribers over the last 2 weeks. Appreciate all the real ones joining us here at the channel, but hit that sub button because I want to get to 19K ASAP. All right, I want to also showcase this because since January 1st, it's been even more downhill for Terry Rozier, and these are some staggering numbers that have been displayed. When Terry Rozier is on the court, the Heat are minus 8.7 in the plus-minus department and have an awful offensive rating of 108.1. When Terry Rozier is off the court, so say Terry plays 24 minutes, while the other 24 minutes, the Heat are 1.3 positive in the plus-minus with a offensive rating of 115.2. And the part that is the most kind of startling, if you will, is that how bad Hero and Rozier play together. And you can go back on the channel into the offseason in the summer. I said consistently that Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero are a terrible fit because they both can't finish. They both are average to below average defenders, and they kind of just take away from each other's strengths. And it shows here a horrible offensive rating, and they're a minus 12.5. And with Tyler Hero on the court and Terry Rozier off the court, the Heat are a much better basketball team. 117.3 offensive rating with a plus 4 plus minus. They have been so much better in every offensive category when Terry Rozier is not on the basketball court. It is time for him to get DNPs. I get it. You might have wanted to keep on playing him before the NBA trade deadline to try to get some of his trade value up so you could potentially flip him and get off of that contract at the deadline. It's simply not going to work. And if you want to be a better team in the regular season this year and potentially give more looks to some younger players as well, he needs to start getting DNPs. Going forward, I think the Heat's guard rotation should be very obvious. They should play 5 guards on a nightly basis. Tyler Hero and Davion Mitchell looks to be your starting backcourt with Wiggins, Bam, and Ware in the front court. So those are your 2 starting guards. Off the bench, Duncan Robinson deserves to continue to get minutes. I think Alec Burks deserves to get more of Terry Rozier's minutes because Burks has shown that he can handle the ball a little bit. Is he a great playmaker? No, but he could bring the ball up the court, and he can hit some shots moving off the ball. And you should continue to see what you have in Pallel Larson, who has shown some promise on the defensive end. Not a lot there offensively, but Larson continues to grow night in, night out. I would play these 5 in the backcourt for Miami over Terry Rozier. Spoelstra, I don't get what the obsession is. Dude, stop playing Terry or I'm going to start slandering you on a nightly basis. And coming up in just a second, let's talk about Kevin Durant because his trade package from Miami may have been revealed by Dan Le Batard. But before we talk about that, I got to show some love to our sponsor, and that is PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app and platform. I play it on a nightly basis. It's so easy to play. All you do is pick more or less on 2 more players stat projections, and you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. And with All-Star Weekend almost here, PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching your favorite players during the game and Saturday night events like the three-point contest. PrizePicks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. And I'm taking advantage of Taco Tuesday myself with a nice little 3-player entry in tonight's games around the association. More than Devin Booker, 1.5 3-pointers. I'll go a little bit lower there, take the Goblin. More than Oscar Thompson, 7.5 rebounds, assists. And then the Taco Tuesday of the day, more than Joel Embiid, points, rebounds, assists. It's discounted from 42.5 to 36.5. I'm taking advantage of that 3-player entry here to try to win some real money. So join me and millions of others on PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, let's get over to KD now because the package that the Suns allegedly wanted from Miami may have been revealed by Dan Le Batard because this morning he said the ask was, according to people I talked to, was our entire team. It wasn't just a Kel'el Ware and Jaime Jaquez Jr. alongside Jimmy. It was they wanted our whole team. And I think one thing has come out, and it's very obvious that we have seen over the past 2 months from the Phoenix Suns. That front office is borderline delusional. And I do respect the fact that they are going all in. They are trying to make the Phoenix Suns a competitive organization, getting KD, and they made the move for Bradley Beal to try to help Devin Booker. But they just have no clue what's going on over there. They thought Bradley Beal's no-trade clause was a no big deal. They thought they were going to be able to flip him and move those other assets for Jimmy Butler at the deadline. That was never going to happen. Then they have to trade Kevin Durant here because he is not going to sign an extension, and they're taking in offers. Durant, by the way, who is a very good player still, but that offer that they wanted from Miami, the whole team, like, what are we doing here? KD would be an amazing addition to this Heat roster, right? 27-point-per-game scorer. You slot him at the 3. If you're able to keep Kel'el Ware, and assuming they took a normal package of like a Jovic, Jimmy, and first-round picks, you would have been able to have KD, Ware, Bam, Hero, and whatever backcourt player you wanted. Like, he is still elite at 36 years old. Still a top 15 player in the league. But let's be honest, guys. You are not trading your entire young core, so I would not have traded all 3 of Jaquez, Jovic, and Ware alongside Jimmy Butler, which would have had to happen due to salary purpose, for Kevin Durant. Yes, he is that good. He's also 36 years old and up for an extension this upcoming offseason. You simply don't make that move because, to me, the Heat would have been a top 4 team in the East if they traded for Durant. No doubt about that. But you don't mortgage your future unless you think that you will win a championship in the next 2 to 3 years. That is not guaranteed. And then Durant could be out of the league, off of your team in 3 or 4 seasons as well. That is just not good asset management if the Heat went all in that. And now I'm happy that they kind of pulled away and made the deal with the Golden State Warriors. But it is interesting to kind of reflect on this and look towards the future in a way. Because Kevin Durant did reveal that the plan for him is to become a free agent in 2026, as opposed to signing an extension this offseason. And now it seems like the Suns are widely expected to listen to Kevin Durant trade offers again this offseason, because are they going to take KD into a final year of his deal where he can leave in free agency after the season concludes for nothing, or are they going to try to flip him before he ultimately leaves for nothing? I think it's going to be a very intriguing summer, and I would almost project Durant ultimately gets traded once again because it doesn't sound like he's signing an extension. It sounded like he would have if they were able to acquire Butler for Beal. They were not able to, and now it seems like KD is going to either be traded again or hit free agency in a year and a half. And with KD potentially on the trade market again this summer, let me know, should the Heat pursue KD in the summer via trade once again? Type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. Regardless if you want them to, I expect Miami to pursue KD because Here's the moral of the story. The Heat have an obsession with KD. Pat Riley, this is his golden egg. This is his whale. Pat Riley has been chasing Kevin Durant for nearly a decade. Back when he was a free agent in 2016, when he joined the Golden State Warriors and the Heat finished either second or third in the KD sweepstakes in free agency, the widely reported famous meeting with KD, Spoelstra, Riley, where Spo blew KD away with how he would be used on the offensive side of the floor. Then when he was in free agency again, you talk about him going to the Nets. The Heat weren't really in a position to get him at that time, but they were certainly wishing to add him. Then he gets traded from Brooklyn to the Phoenix Suns, but while he requested a trade, he said that his preferred destinations were Phoenix and Miami, but the Heat weren't willing to offer Bam at the time, rightfully probably so, and the Nets wanted Bam Adebayo. This is someone that the Heat have wanted for a very long time, and KD has been very open to playing for the Miami Heat. And the interesting thing about potentially engaging on a Kevin Durant trade is that I truly believe the Heat have a lot of good assets now. When you think of a potential package the Heat can put together this offseason, whether it's for Kevin Durant or another all-star level player that becomes available, if it's a LaMelo Ball, if it's a Trae Young, whoever it be, the Heat have a package. They have three decently good young players, Kel'el Ware, Nikola Jovic. Jaime, hopefully he's able to play well down the stretch here to improve his value. You have two good contracts to move. Andrew Wiggins, $28.2 million next season, then a $30 million player option the season after. And then Rozier, as bad as he is, a $26.6 million expiring contract next season as well. So you have good contracts that you can move that are expiring in the next couple of years. You also have 3 tradable first-round picks on draft night in 2030, 2032, and the 2025 first-round pick you got from the Golden State Warriors. And if it doesn't convey, well, then you could just trade it in 2026. So that can get you quite a bit here. For the first time in a while, folks, I feel pretty good about what the Heat can offer for a star. I do, because you could combine 2 of the Jovic, Ware, Jaquez trio. 2 of, not all 3, but 2 of them, plus a contract in Wiggins or Rozier, and 3 first-round picks. That is a pretty solid offer. And unless it's an all-NBA type guy that is going to be going for 6 first-round picks, 5 first-round picks in young talent, Miami is going to be able to bid with other teams to get some of these guys. Can they get outbid by certain teams like Houston, Brooklyn, if they wanted to? Absolutely, they have a gazillion picks to trade. Same thing with OKC. But Miami will be there for a star if one becomes available via trade in the offseason. And we will be here for the rest of the season as well as the offseason. So make sure you hit that sub button. Join us here at the Heat Report because we're dropping daily content, whether it's a video, whether it's a live watch party. We're doing a lot of coverage here at the Heat Report, so join the channel today.